around what used to be Parsons Pond, but riding on board right now with Andy Ives as you go through the gravel pit turn. Ideally, you want to be coming out of there just a little bit more to the inside, and that's where the race line has developed over this afternoon into this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see how heavy the dirt has been with Mother Nature not being on our side. We're trying to still beat this heavy rain coming in later this evening. You watch as he's just trying to stay to that inside, like Shane was saying. You want to try to get a good run, then you try to creep back up to that outside and then come right up to that K-rail as he's trying to keep up a different line. As you'll see, we are on the short track. We're under the lights. It's going to be hard to see. The track's in really, really good shape as you look at Andy Ives giving you that one lap around Crandon International Off-Road Raceway, going by that famous barn turn. And man, Shane, it is going to be unbelievable. I've raced here a lot in my life. I've only gotten to race a couple times under the lights. I can't imagine what's next here in Pro Stock.
Yeah, and you know that knowing that this is the big show and the first time we get to see them under the lights, these drivers are going to be completely amped up and ready to put on a show. Let's go down your starting lineup in Pro Stock side by side. How about this one? Driving the number 97. Welcome back to Crandon behind the wheel. It's Todd LeDuc. Alongside him, the 52 is Robert Loire. Number 7 is Jason Luber. Number 33, your current points leader, is CJ Greaves. John Holcher is out there in the number 44. Scott Waz will be in the number 41. The number 13 is Matt Bone. The number 54X is Jeremy Houle. Number 5 is Owen Van Eperen. Number 19 is Matt Wood. Gabe Johnson's out there in the number 25. Jesse Klaus will be there in the number 99. The number 4 is Mitchell Otterson. Number 98 is Blake Enlow.
Starting in the number 15 spot, Joe Dressel in the 36 from Lake, Minnesota. Bill Berger, Jordy Reed, Zach Janke, Mike Caswell will be all the way from Wells, Michigan in that race-driven Polaris KTM ride. Then Pleasant Cook, Justin Tesmere, Roy Navid, Josh Lukenik, Kyle Throne will be in the 24th spot. Then Chris Anke, Rob Steer, and Kyle Kuster will round out 27 cars in this field. And man, this is lit up like a football field here in Crandon, Shane.
Yeah, a ton of work put in by this Crandon track crew, Cliff Landry, Gopher, Tom May, and all those guys. Put in a lot of hours. Nate, the track electrician who helps us out up here with the electrical related matters as well, put in a lot of work. And it is beautiful. What a sight to behold. Night racing, pro racing under the lights here at the Big House.
Yeah, absolutely. You just wish and hope to be a part of something this big. And I'll tell you, the track, it looks a little rough right now. The track officials have done their job, rolling that dirt over, keeping it really, really tacky. I mean, no short of rain that we've had coming into this weekend with these drivers. They're excited. They've watched all these races throughout the day. I mean, a lot of sportsman drivers. Kudos to all the winners here in round 9. But man, these are points championships going on this weekend.
Absolutely, a ton at stake for these guys. How awesome is it too, Brett, to see that number 97 car with Todd LeDuc driving?
Yeah,
been a long time since we've called that name here at Crandon International.
Yeah, it's so awesome to see Todd LeDuc, a good friend of mine. Him and his brother Kyle have just done just about everything in short course. And Todd, he just wants to get behind the wheel. He's been doing monster trucks for a while now. He's been conquering everything under the sun in that, and he really just wants to get back to short course.
Yeah, and one thing you always hear, especially about Crandon, it doesn't matter, you know, you've heard it from Jimmy Johnson if you follow his social media posts. Todd LeDuc obviously went out of his way to come back here just to drive a UTV. There's something about this place. It's the magical, the home of short course off-road racing.
Yeah, definitely.
It pulls you back.
Yeah, and he's probably grinning ear to ear. He just loves racing. And what better way to come back to Crandon starting on the pole? We'll see if Robert Loire has anything for Todd LeDuc. We'll see as they take off. We are green flag racing here under the lights.
Right away, a pass by Luber. He moves up into second place right behind Todd LeDuc. Loire back down to third. Then it's Greaves in fourth.
Yeah, Greaves already moving up into the top 4, so watch CJ Greaves. Gonna try to make some moves. Look at this already early.
Yeah, Luberg forcing the issue to steal that race lead away from Leduc. Here comes Loire as well with a great run on the inside.
Yeah, Robert Loire picking away that spot. It looks like Luberg really made his room and moved Todd Leduc out of the way. So definitely probably don't want Todd to get back to the rear bumper of him.
And it looks like yellow flags are out. Looks like we might have a situation up there in turn number 2.
Yeah, you're right, Shane.
Yeah, I see a car pulled off up there.
Let's see if we get a look at that.
We're going to slow it all down. Just as a note on this points championship chase, CJ Greaves can tie this thing up today. He can put a bow on it if he finishes 18th or better.
Wow.
So an absolutely dominant year by CJ Greaves. He's also leading in Pro Mod side by side, and he's still within striking distance of Kyle Leduc in Pro 4 as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the number 32 car.
I believe that's Josh Luketic in there.
Yeah, Luketic. He
looks like he's giving the thumbs up there to the track crew, and they're trying to get unhooked. Like he might be able to rejoin the field if there's not too much damage to that car.
Now we're going to reset it. It looks like Todd Leduc's going to take that top spot back because we're going to go back to the original restart. Just by looking on our camera, there's Todd Leduc in that number 97 Speedworks Artie Cat.
And what a tough break for Luberg. I mean, he started on the second row, and by the barn turn up there, he was already up into second behind Leduc and made a great physical move.
Yeah,
and
very,
unfortunately,
very
now he's shown his hand to Todd Leduc, so Leduc knows where he's going to try to make that move again if the opportunity is there.
Yeah, Todd Leduc, he knows not to leave that inside open as we're going to go down trackside. Haley Shanley, what do you have?
Take notice of where this went down. Just inside turn 2 there, we saw a car up and over. They got him back on track. But what's interesting about this corner, talking to a number of drivers, is this first lap, that is when they are going the fastest into that turn. Maybe not so much this time around because they had that rolling start, but typically they're coming the full length of this fast straightaway, whereas on all the other laps, they are taking a little shortcut just around, coming around the laps. They don't have to go all the way around through that start. So this corner, there's a lot of action that's going to go down because of the speeds they have, especially on that first lap.
Yeah, thank you, Haley. And another thing I noticed about that turn number 2 up there by the barn, Brent, is that even in some of these other corners where we saw 2 race lines starting to wear in, there's still really only 1 race line up there by the barn. So it'll be interesting to see if any drivers want to be super aggressive and try to make their own race line.
Yeah, absolutely. You really have to make it work. If you go through there, you only have a couple lanes, like he said. You have to be easy on that throttle pedal. You don't want to go over too far because you get stuck in that mud. As we're looking at our leaders now, going to bring us on this restart. The pace car should come out this time by. It's going to be Leduc, Loire, Luberg, and Greaves, your top 4. So pay attention. A good, cool shot by our drone. And yeah, we're clear for takeoff.
Yeah, I'm keeping my eye on Luberg again. He had a great start on our first go-around. And we're back to green flag racing. Another good jump out front there by Leduc, who is sitting on the pole.
Yeah,
and Luberg again just following Leduc right up the inside into turn 2.
Yeah, he hit us right on our marks. We said everyone, hey, you know, you got to stay to the bottom. There's not many lines, so we'll have to pay attention and babysit Leduc, see if he's going to stay to that bottom. As here comes Loire. Loire outside, inside, trying to go on Luberg. Look at that pass. Textbook move by Robert Loire on Luberg. Said, hey, I want that spot back.
Yeah, big time power play there by Loire to take over second place. Meanwhile, Leduc about 8 car lengths out front as they come into Calamity Corner.
Yeah, Leduc trying to babysit that throttle, just trying to carry his speed, going on that bottom. And look at this battle for second. Here comes Luberg once again. Loire now going to go to third.
Yeah, Luberg not giving Loire any kind of space right there. They're still side by side. Now that's going to open the door for Greaves. Luberg got pushed off the race line by Loire. That's all good, clean racing there. Just physical racing. Neither driver wanted to give an inch.
Here comes CJ Greaves. Shane, he's not wasting any time. He has a big, huge points gap in this standings. But I'll tell you, he wants to win. He's CJ Greaves. He's out there. He hates second. Second sucks to him. He wants to win everyone possible. As you see that number 33 red plate, meaning he was last year's champion.
Yeah, not only that, but CJ Greaves, this is his job, so his livelihood depends on him producing wins.
Absolutely.
And every round is just as meaningful as any other championship or no championship.
Todd Todd the Duke still out front. That number 97, Speedworks Party Cat. Here comes Loire. Robert Loire in that number 52. You can see the different style tire setups on these rides. That Polaris a little bit bigger, different strategy coming in, different gear ratio if you ask me. Anytime you play with a truck or a car, you change that tire size, you're really dealing with some technical stuff.
Yeah, it is interesting to see the different choices that they make. Some drivers prefer a more ATV style tire, whereas others, they'll opt for almost like a small car tire. Then you see Loire there, he's running on Hoosier tires. So yeah, absolutely. Choices they can make.
Well, Todd the Duke going through the gravel pit one more time. Still out in front.
Yeah, and stretching his lead.
Yeah, he really is. It's not like he hasn't done this before. He's been around in Crandon. He's won world championships here in Crandon in Pro 2. And if I remember right, when he was out front, he just shredded the rear tires off that truck and still won. So watch for Todd just to keep focusing forward. And it looks like you're going to have to wait for that mandatory competition caution to see any parts of that back bumper.
Good battle for second going on right now as Loire still holding off CJ Greaves. Loire earlier this year picked up his first ever win in a nationals event in this class. Put together a pretty strong season, but nobody in this class has had much for CJ all year. CJ's going to look to the outside, maybe try the same move Loire did earlier. Look at that defense by Loire, just picture perfect, stealing that line away from Greaves.
Yeah, absolutely. He's running the fast line through the gravel pit, and what's left of it here. Here comes Todd the Duke once again. Still about 9-10 car lengths over Robert Loire. Greaves in third. Newberg, Holger, Poole, and Bone, your top 7. And Shane, man, this track is really starting to look really racy. It's really cool to see how the speeds are starting to pick up as Greaves, he's backing it in like a Pro 4.
Yeah, we are. Even though it's early in this one, we're seeing that race line move a little bit farther outside. That means there's more room being created where you can hold your speed and maybe make some moves. Even in turn 2 right there, you see the race line is getting much wider now.
Absolutely, Shane. Good eye on that. You can see it's starting to open up a little bit more lap after lap. Here comes Greaves. He's going to drive hard to the inside. I don't think there's enough room. He pinches him off once again, but don't take nothing away from Robert Loire. He's doing what he needs to do. He knows CJ's back there. He's seen him a couple different times.
Yeah, look who else is getting into that battle as well. Johnny Holcher, that number 44 HBI Yamahas, trying to catch up to Greaves as Greaves goes down to the inside of Loire.
Yeah, and Greaves has been setting it up for a couple turns, maybe even a lap. He's been trying to apex these turns. Watch him as he comes out on the bottom. If anyone's going to hit their marks perfect lap after lap, it's CJ Greaves. He's been around a lot, been into motocross. He knows how to pick lines. He knows how to pick them just lap after lap and on the fly, too.
Yeah, and CJ has such impeccable car control that he can actually try to make moves on the same driver like 3 or 4 corners in a row without really giving up much space. He doesn't ever have to like go for broke.
Absolutely. Watch as Greaves, he's really bonsaiing into the gravel pit, costing him a little bit of time, but it looked good on the setup as here comes John Holger.
Yeah, Holger showed a wheel to the inside of Greaves through the gravel pit. So Holger turning up the intensity here on Greaves as Loire again running on the cushion with Greaves running down at the bottom in Calamity Corner.
Loire still ahead of Greaves, and look at that gap now, about 3-4 car lengths separates our second and third place drivers. Here's Loire coming over that roller jump on the front straightaway, off the barn turn jump by the flagman. As you can see, tear-offs, those shiny, like reflected pieces of plastic going by. That is the tear-offs. You can see now, look at the rain has set in.
Yeah, here it comes. We knew it was going to be here at a little bit after 6 o'clock, and there it is right on time as Greaves again backing it in on Loire.
Wow, look at
They're
CJ
still side
Greaves.
by side.
Yeah, they are, Shane. Look at that. Just force them out of the race line. Didn't take them out. Didn't really make any contact, but just steering out. You'll hear your spotter say, hey, move them out, move them out. And that's what you do. You just take them out of that fast line and take over that spot.
Yeah, Loire left just a little bit too much room on the inside. Greaves was able to take that line away. As we have reached our mid-race caution, 6 out of 12 laps are complete.
Todd the Duke still out front in Paterno's ride, that number 97. Speedworks Artie Cat, as the rain is definitely starting to come down. So things are really going to shake up and be different here in this second half.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out. So you've got CJ Greaves sitting there in second, as you see Owen Van Eperen pulled off to the side there, so tough break for him.
Yeah, man.
CJ Greaves has, I don't know, maybe a couple thousand laps racing in a side-by-side, and Todd LeDuc, well, let's see, we've got 6 laps complete, so he has 6 laps.
Yeah, that's saying a lot, and he's a good race car driver. You put him in just about anything. You put him in a buggy, a truck, he'll adapt to it very fast. It's just a racing mentality they have through their family, and he's loving every minute of it. He's probably talking back and forth to his spotter, just saying, hey, the car's good. Where are those guys catching me, or are they catching me, as this rain's going to really make things change up, Shane, as we're going to go down to Haley Shanley, the 3rd member of our team.
I want to talk to you about Jason Luberg. That restart at the beginning, that is not what he wanted, because our drivers have talked about all afternoon and leading into tonight that clean air is where you want to be and early on. So he's not doing too bad right now. He is sitting 5th. He said he has felt so good, especially as of recent. He's been pretty consistent with the podiums here in Pro Stock side-by-side. He was actually running up there in the top 3 in the World Championship in the lead, if I'm not mistaken, before he had exhaust issues, and he just seemed to have lost a little bit of power. But otherwise, he and this 7 Bikeman Performance side-by-side, they've felt so good this year. So let's see if he can make something happen on this restart.
Thank you very much, Haley. Some good information always from you on track side. And it's a different view from where we're sitting, Shane. And I can't imagine what it feels like down on the track with all this rain that's starting to set in. We just got to keep moving things forward.
Yeah, just like we said during Super Stock Truck earlier on, you just wonder how many of these guys maybe just caught the right forecast and knew that this was going to arrive during their race. I mean, weather is always a guessing game, but at some point you have to make a decision. You know, do I want a more open tire groove, or do I want to close up like you saw Ryan Schwalbe closed up a bunch of his rock screen just to try to mitigate that mud that flies in at you as well?
Yeah, absolutely. But right now, look at this. Todd LeDuc didn't waste any time. I mean, I totally agree with you, Shane. I'll go back on that point. You really want to keep everything out of the cab of the car. As you see up front, we still have a lot of action going on. Greaves now going to make pressure into this turn. Look at the rain coming down here in Crandon, Wisconsin. You're watching round 9 of Champ Off Road. Again, I am Brent Smith. Alongside of me, Shane Stensny. And Shane, man, we've seen a lot of great action, but the rain is definitely going to play a big, big factor here.
Yeah, and it looks like we have more trouble up there in turn 2 as we're going to go back to a yellow flag condition here. We'll get it sorted out. And this rain and this race becoming extended is not doing these drivers any kind of favors.
No, absolutely not.
The
track just keeps going away. And
another car upside down there.
So track conditions are a huge factor here this afternoon into this evening.
All right, so we're going to reset the field. We're trying to see who that is. Again, that's the 32 of Luketic. That's the 2nd time he's been up on his side, so he's having a tough go of this one, trying to battle both the elements and these other drivers. Tell you what, though, Brent, looking out the window of our booth here up on top of the grandstands, there are no fans leaving the seating area.
No, this is Crandon, dude.
Everyone's hanging out here. Like I said, the cold beer is still flowing. They still got the hot, fresh, crispy chicken wings. They're all hanging out having a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. This is Crandon. You come here, you mark it down on your calendars years prior, and if you haven't seen short course off-road racing, these are die-hard fans, week in and week out, and a little bit of rain is not going to shake any of their plans as we look. We talk about tire combination. You can throw that right out the window right now.
Yeah, at some point the track just gets so far away that it doesn't matter what you've done. You're just trying to, like we talked about earlier, manage those mistakes and keep them to a minimum. Try to drive as smoothly as you can. You know, there's an old saying, sometimes you have to slow down and go faster.
Absolutely. I always said that. I mean, I remember we talked about Anago earlier on, and my brother and I, we were racing back in stock truck in the day, and my old man used to say, you know, hey, just calm down, go slow. That'll bring you to the front. And 90% of the time it worked. So,
yeah, you have to manage wheel spin. Not only that, but we talked about the extra weight on these cars and brakes going away. Cars will run a little bit hot. Sometimes you, like I said, you have to finish before you can finish first.
Yeah, you really do as we look. And
that smoke coming out of Holcher.
Yeah,
that's the 44.
Definitely.
That's a lot of steam coming out of there, Johnny Holcher in that number 44 car.
Yeah, and we just got done talking about that mud and where it can go. It can go in any crack or crevice in your ride, and 90% of the time it goes in your radiator, in your coolers, and once those things are packed, you can't breathe. None of your coolers can breathe, so Johnny Holcher definitely having some major issues.
Yeah, we'll see how long his car can hold on. The rain continues to fall.
Yeah, definitely not slowing down, but this is short course off-road racing. We're going to stay racing here in Crandon. The pace car is pulled off. We'll see who can get to the finish line first here in this tough layout in Crandon.
Back out front, Greaves trying to put some pressure on our race leader as they head back down into the gravel pit. We've seen Greaves be very aggressive in this gravel pit. Let's watch him go to work.
Yeah, Greaves, he's really setting the car where he needs it. He doesn't know if we're going to shorten this race or not, so he needs to try to make this pass early.
And they have shortened it, Brent. We're coming to the white flag this time.
Yeah, white flag's coming out. Can CJ Greaves get it done?
Holcher still making laps there in third with that steam just rolling out the side of that Yamaha.
Greaves trying inside, he's trying outside. He's actually going through one of our big holes in the finish line turn chain. He's going to try everything. And remember, he loves that gravel pit. He loves to huck it in there and try to make it work.
Yeah, we'll see. Just a couple of corners to go now as we're on our final lap. About half a lap to go here at Crandon International Off-Road Raceway. Greaves falling back a little bit, maybe trying to get a run down that hill into the gravel pit.
Yeah, we'll see right here. Watch, Shane. It's really, really muddy. You don't want to go in too fast. You don't want to go in too slow. You got to be almost perfect. As Greaves really just tiptoeing his way through. One more final turn for the Speedworks number 97 Artie Cat. Going to work his way around to that inside. Going to get the job done here in round number 9. Greaves, he should, by our math, clinch that championship.
And Holcher, his car survived. He's going to finish third with all that steam rolling out. Just remarkable that his car was able to make it to the finish line. And like you said, of course, anything we say is unofficial, but if my calculations are right, CJ Greaves has clinched the first ever points championship here in the Championship Off-Road Series. And there you see your results from a rain-soaked round number 9 here at the Forest County Park.
We sure do. Starting out with John Holcher, our third place finisher here in the Pro Stock. John, it appears when you pulled into victory lane, your car was smoking. So tell me, what were the emotions you were having to grapple on that last lap to make it to victory lane?
Oh man, I couldn't see, I couldn't breathe, but I just kept pushing through it, and just one more lap and made it here.
You made it, and that's what counts. Who'd you like to thank?
My whole team, I mean, they worked so hard, but car was good, and finally put another race together. Race driven, HBI, Kaiser, and anyone else I forgot, thank you.
John Holcher, congratulations. He's taking home bronze. And CJ Greaves. CJ, I know you have your hands full, but I'm going to hand you one more as you are our Pro Stock Side-by-Side 2020 champion. Congratulations.
Woo!
Now, you had some work to do moving forward through that one, so what did it take to move as far forward as you did?
Oh, you know, before the rain came, we had a really good car. and we were going at it, and I think we were going to have some of these guys. So after that, the rain started coming. It got freaking super slick. I ended up having to open my shield with 2 laps to go, so any chance I had at getting to the front, I knew it was going to be slim. But we did the best we can. The ultimate goal today was to take the championship. So we were able to manage it today and be able to go out tomorrow and just do our thing. So hats off to all my crew. They worked their butts off. I don't know, these side-by-sides aren't the greatest things to clean, and after a race like that, it's going to be an all-nighter. We got 4 of these things to clean. So hats off to all my crew. They worked their butts off. Everyone from Yamaha, we really appreciate all the support. Yamalube, Maxxis Tires, Fox Shocks, Vision Wheels, Luke and all of his crew from Beyond Redline and Dirt Launch Products, and just everyone that helps us out. We appreciate it, and hopefully we can do it again next year.
Your 2020 Pro Stock side-by-side champion in second today. This is CJ Greaves. And taking top honors, his first time in a side-by-side, winning today here at Crandon. This is Todd LeDuc. Todd, your first time in the side-by-side, this track, this event, no easy feat. So what made it look like such a seamless transition for you to the side-by-side from the monster truck?
No, I just got super lucky. I inverted front row, and this track is so difficult to pass, especially the way it is now with, with not a lot of power. I just stayed in the prime line, and CJ ran me great, and I just wanted to give a win to these guys. Literally, minutes before the start of this race, we had an issue, we fixed it, and we got out here. I was biting my nails. I was a little nervous, but I stayed calm and just put this, Speedworks car to its limits, and thanks to Articat, Fox, all the team. I don't know everyone. It was a kind of a last-minute deal, but thanks to the team, for real. It wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. They're amazing. So I'm stoked, and my kids, my wife, everyone at home watching, we won. Daddy won.
He won in a big way. Congratulations, Todd LeDuc.
More coming right at you under the lights here in Crandon.
Yeah, definitely a sight to behold. We're battling this rain, but you can't stop off-road racing. Come on. After the year we've had, dealt with all kinds of other stuff, we're here, we're racing in Crandon. A little bit later than we're accustomed to racing in Crandon. The leaves are changing colors, and we're doing it under the lights, in the rain. We don't care. We're stepping ahead.
Absolutely, Shane. Once again, I am Brent Smith. Alongside of me, Shane Stensny. Haley Shanley's down in the pits, covering all the racing action from trackside. So pay attention, man. This is going to be some kind of showdown, and we're throwing everything but the sink at this one. And it looks like the sink's been leaking all day.
Well, we'll see how these 10 drivers here in Pro Light can contend with all this moisture that this track has absorbed over the last few minutes. And starting on the pole from Abrams, the number 44 is John Holcher. Alongside him from De Pere, the number 34 is Kyle Greaves. He is your current points leader. Starting in third from Blaine, Minnesota, the number 25 is Jason Pluff. And starting fourth all the way from Terrell, Texas, number 8 is Carson Parrish. Starting in the 5th spot in the number 7 from Little Swamico, fresh off a win on World Cup Sunday, his first ever win in Pro Light, and it got him a championship ring. It's Zach Shimmick. In the number 29 from Appleton is Chad Rayford. From Hortonville, Wisconsin, one of the privateers out here, number 13 is Brandon Matt Miller. From Abrams, number 11 is Troy Shaden. He has made the jump up from Super Stock Truck. The number 10 from Waverly, Minnesota is Travis Milhausen Jr. And rounding out your field of 10 from Heartland, Wisconsin, number 14 is Jason Janis, and we're just about ready to go racing.
Yes, we are, Shane. Pay attention. The green flag is about to fly here in Pro Light. It is John Holter, Kyle Greaves. Pluff now looking the inside of Greaves already. Shoves him right onto that race line.
Big power play right off the jump here by Pluff.
Man,
brought Shimmick along with him as Holcher steps out to about a 10 truck length lead.
Yeah, man, you talked about Shimmick. He must have been listening to you, Shane. He really is confident. He won that cup race. He really got that ring a couple weekends ago. And look at Holter. Goes really wide, gives the lead to Shimmick. So Zach Shimmick, he is out front.
Yeah, Holter having all kinds of problems, pushed out wide into the soft stuff and had no control over the truck, just kept on pushing. We'll find out how good of a driver in this condition Shimmick is now as he takes over the point.
Yeah, the track was definitely different a couple weekends ago. It was really dry for Shimmick. He moved to the front and won his first ever career pro light race. As we look at Pluff, Pluff is starting to work his way up as well as we go back on board with Zach Shimmick. And man, you just got done telling me when we were on break, man, it really almost brought a tear to your eye about Shimmick. It's so good to see him doing good.
Yeah, finally able to put the pieces together and got his first win here 3 weeks ago at the World Cup event. Trying to make it 2 wins in a row now. Just like you said when we were off mic, Brent, it's such a big confidence builder. He was really down and out and kind of hard on himself. He kept searching for that success and never could find it. And finally, it all paid off at the best possible time.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like John Holger having some issues turning, and it looks like Shimmick went way around one of our safety trucks, and it collected Pluff.
Yeah, it looks like we got some issues down there. And
Greaves.
Brent, that's Kyle Greaves. That is terrible luck. He came in with a 19-point lead.
Yeah, he sheared the right rear off of that KGB Customs ride. So his day looks to be done, man. He's going for the points championship.
Yeah, that is absolutely disastrous, Brent, for Kyle Greaves. What a tough break to be pulled off to the side. As looks like we're going to a full course yellow. We're going to reset the field a little bit. Everything got a little bit scattered. As well lit as this track is, we're dealing with some natural terrain, and that one spot where Greaves was parked is just a little bit on the dark side compared to the better lit areas of the track. So a little bit of mayhem caused by that. Fortunately, everybody stayed safe down there.
Absolutely. Looks like Carson Parrish now, Shane, has moved up in the second place spot. So,
yeah, and how about Carson Parrish, just a young kid coming from Terrell, Texas, down in West Texas. He's raced out west a little bit. I know for a fact he's never seen track conditions like this.
Absolutely. He's been going back and forth to the Lucas Oil Off-Road Racing Series as well. So he's getting a lot of track time. He's doing what he needs to do. He's pitting underneath Ryan Beats on him. Jesse Johnson's working on his truck as well. So that says a lot about that team. They're bringing in everybody possible to get that team on top. And what Beats doing with that rental program and everything with Mason Prater is just kind of folding off to Carson Parrish as well. And Parrish is really showing good this year in 2020.
Yeah, Brent, we talked earlier in the day about the guys that seem to always do really well in the mud and the slick stuff. And I'm kind of looking for Rayford to push toward the front. He's currently in 5th. Rayford, another one of these old school, Wisconsin born and bred guys. He knows what it takes to race in these conditions.
Yeah, he's an old quad racer, so he really knows how to pick apart the lines. I'm sure he hasn't ran on perfect conditions on a quad his whole life. So being from the Midwest, he'll adapt fairly quickly. As you see, speaking of the Midwest, look at Zach Shimmick. He's up front. He just waited his turn, went through that gravel pit, and Holger had a little bit of a loose line going out on the top and took over that lead. And that's why we say slow could be faster.
Yeah, and it looks like they've shuffled the field around behind Shimmick just a little bit, so it'll be Shimmick out front. Then it's Pluff in that number 25 Midwest CATV truck in second, Parrish third. Johnny Holcher, he's been having some issues with dealing with this wet track, but he is in 4th, and then Rayford rounds out the top 5.
All right, so we'll see our pace car still on the track. Doesn't look like we'll be going green flag racing this time by, and we'll reset it still for you. Zach Shimmick, it's Pluff. Your top 2 right now. As you can look at the track, Shane, look at the ruts in there. And there's only pretty much one line. So if you're sitting in the seat of Shimmick, you just keep your line, you hit your marks, you just tiptoe through the corners. He could be looking at back-to-back wins here in Crandon.
And we talked earlier about the race line growing when we were having some dry weather earlier on in the day. Well, now that race line is going to shrink back down and become close to one-line racing again. So as long as Shimmick can stay clean and, like we've said a few times, manage the mistakes, because there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be times where your tires just don't hook up, or you brake a little too aggressively, they lock up, but you have to just manage all that and basically just kind of survive this one.
Yeah, and definitely you're right. You have to survive if you want to finish, and especially to finish first. You just have to babysit that throttle. I say it a lot in 2020, but you drive like there's an egg underneath your pedal. You don't want to crush that egg. You just want to make sure you're moving forward. You don't want to over-rotate. As you see, the rain still coming down pretty heavily as Holger now sitting side by side with Zach Shimmick, just trying to get in his head and be like, hey man, I didn't go anywhere. I'm still here in this top 2. So tough break for Kyle Greaves. We'll touch on him. A right rear just sheared off of that machine. He's going to have to bring it back. And if you're a Holger, you're just counting those points in your head right now. You're still on the track.
Yeah, basically Holcher was, looking way uphill at Kyle Greaves coming into this round number 9 race, and he frankly needed some bad luck for Greaves, and this could be the break that opens the door just that little bit. Holcher's going to have a great run still today and tomorrow, as it looks like we're going back to a 2x2 restart here.
Yeah, Shimmick's not going to be too happy. Look, he gets left out in that loam. So Shimmick definitely getting the short end of that stick, and Holger's going to be out front, so wonder what happened there.
Interesting development there as we do a double file restart, and that's going to hand the lead over to John Holcher, even after all the troubles he's been having.
Holger now that HBI ride number 44 out in front. There's Plov, Carson Parrish behind that number 25, and watch, you go in too deep.
And again, Holger with some problems.
Yeah, that shows
Holger cannot get that truck to turn in on that gravel pit corner, having all kinds of issues.
Oh, did you see Rayford?
Yeah,
Rayford's
we talked on the charge, and then Holger and Pluff are tangled and off the track. Just out of sight of our camera view there, but Shimmick takes that lead back over, so a little bit of good fortune there for Shimmick.
Shimmick still out in front after that mandatory competition caution, and then another caution. So kudos to him. Now Chad Rayford, I seen a glimpse of him on the right side of our screen. He's in second, so if anyone can chase down Shimmick in the mud, it is one of our Midwest boys in that number 29 Camden Tires ride.
We're absolutely going to find out here. Rayford's still looking for his first ever win here at Crandon International Raceway as well. We'll see how this battle unfolds. Driver versus the elements here at Crandon International Off-Road Raceway.
Yeah, there's a bend side starting to come off. Both bend sides off of Rayford.
Trouble for Shimmick. He pushed way wide into the gravel pit. He's stuck out in the loose stuff. Here comes Rayford.
Chad Rayford looking for his first win here in 2020 in Pro Light. Trying to chase down Zachary Shimmick. Look at Shimmick now. He's just trying to rotate that car, and a little bit of smoke coming out of Rayford.
Yeah, Shimmick's starting to have some trouble getting his truck to rotate as well.
I was saying earlier, the bend sides are coming off of Rayford. That's fiberglass. It's replaceable.
Not only that, but those fiberglass panels can hold a lot of weight in mud, so that might actually be beneficial to drop that weight.
Absolutely. Rayford going to try to shear off those bend sides as Shimmick. We're on board with him on our drone view going through the barn turn. And look at that, how narrow that line is, Shane. There's no room to screw up. You really just have to babysit that throttle coming off this little roller jump in front of the suites here in Crandon. And man, Shimmick, he's doing a heck of a job.
Yeah, able to, like we said, manage those mistakes. We'll see if he has more problems. This time, able to get the truck rotated.
Man, Rayford cannot get that truck to rotate.
Yeah, just delicately dancing through that corner. You have to drive a little bit with the rear end and get that back into the truck to step out, but you're really walking a fine line when the track is this wet.
Absolutely. Here's Zach Shimmick once again. There's our drone flying by. He's just babysitting that truck, just trying to keep it to go forward. Green flag still out for that number 7 ride.
Yeah, and Brent, for a moment, Shaden had worked his way up into third, but he's having some issues as well. Up front, it's all Shimmick, and man, even for Shimmick, who's been mostly running out front, you can even see the sidewalls of those tires flexing under that extra weight.
Yeah, definitely, and they probably ran a little bit lower air pressure than you normally run. You want to try to get as much hookup as possible. You don't want to go too fast, you don't want to go too slow, but looks like he dialed in his truck for the mud. And he's just starting to walk away from Chad Rayford.
Let's watch Shimmick again into the gravel pit. Very gingerly navigating that corner. This time, a perfect line there by Shimmick.
Yeah, he's just driving around there on the bottom, which he needs to do. There's no reason to go flying into that gravel pit as he comes off the Polaris flyaway one more time as laps are starting to wind down here in round number 9 in the Pro Light division here at Champ Off-Road. Man,
it's the white flag this time, Brent. So 1 lap to go here for Shimmick. Trying to pick up his 2nd career win in Pro Light.
Watch him. He's just going to stay tight to those tractor tires, try to get a clean exit. He knows the white flag is out that time by. His spotter's probably telling him, you know, you have 10, 12 car lengths on Chad Rayford. Don't make any mistakes.
And really, Brent, the only place we've seen a mistake out of Shimmick is down there in that Polaris gravel pit corner.
Boy, look at Chad Rayford. Chad Rayford. Shimmick don't want to go too slow. Rayford is really hard on the loud pedal. He knows this is it. As here comes Holger. Holger now, and there's that excess fuel we talk about.
Holger, look at that inside line with a perfect block pass on Rayford. Now both trucks out in the soft stuff.
But look at this. Can he go 2 for 2 in Crandon? 1 turn to go. The number 7, Zach Shimmick. We'll see. Tiptoeing his way through. 1 final time. He's going to do it. Here in Crandon, Zach Shimmick with your win.
John Holger across the line 2nd after stealing that spot away from Rayford. Rayford holds on for 3rd, barely over Carson Parrish. And how about that one? Hats off to all these drivers for not only battling the elements and one another, but man, they just put on one heck of a show here for these fans at Crandon International Off-Road Raceway.
Yeah, definitely the Midwest drivers definitely came to the top of the field. Look at John Holger. Chad Rayford with a good run in 3rd, as there's our Forest County Potawatomi brush run result. Shimmick, Holger, Rayford, Parrish.
That was a wild one indeed. Here for Pro Light, Chad Rayford, our 3rd place finisher. Chad, you hung on for a podium position. You were making charges for the front throughout. Break down that race for me.
That was probably one of the craziest races I've been in, but Kenda, we talked about it before the race. This is a possibility it's going to rain. But we still went with the All-Terrain, the new AT2 from Kenda. We grooved it up a little bit, but it still had great forward bite. Just I lost my tear-offs after 1 lap. So the whole race, I'm holding my shield up, trying not to get roosted, catching Zach, and couldn't quite get to him because of that. But we had a great race. It was fun for what we had. It was actually kind of fun, but it was definitely crazy. Like trucks everywhere and just night racing in the mud, I guess.
Coming down to tire strategy, who would you like to thank?
Kenda Tires is my #1 supporter in Flying Dutchman off-road. JP Remington and VP Race Fuels came on board. Steve Romanesco Construction, ATD Transmissions. Charlie hooked me up with some gearing, some other parts for this race, and it worked. Not to its full potential with this mud, but Bob's Engine Transmission, my family, everyone at my crew that comes and supports me. This is still awesome to be on the podium at Crandon. Night race, this is fun. It's a blast.
Congratulations. This is Chad Rayford in 3rd. And John Holter in 2nd. John, with these conditions, it looked like you had your work cut out for you as far as navigating this truck through the corners. But where was the confidence level at as you made that pass for 2nd? It looked like it was there.
At the start of the race, I was just fighting the truck, and I finally got in a groove, and the track came to me, and just started working my way up, and it stopped pushing once I got a little bit more breath. But yeah, happy to be up here.
Who would you like to thank?
Oh, HBI, Renard's Cheese, Dynamic, JP Remington, Maxxis Tires. I mean, those things are hooking up a little too good, but my whole crew, they work so hard all day, and just happy to be up here.
A great points day for our 2nd place finisher, John Holter, one of our Pro Light rookies. And Zach Shimmick on top of the box here, his 2nd career win. Zach, I heard you exchanging some words with your team down here. Tell me about the thought process on that last lap. What was going through your mind?
Well, this entire season I've been just working on consistency, and if this isn't the most tested consistency you could ever have, I don't know what is. So back-to-back wins at Crandon Pro Light. We're starting to get comfortable, and we're having some fun.
Who would you like to thank?
I would like to thank my whole team. We got through the podium at the Cup race, and I didn't get to thank anybody because I thought I was going to get a chance. So ATD, Charlie and Mike, Victory Sign, ARO Coatings, Canati Tire, GJR Transport, I don't even know. There's a whole bunch of them. Thank you to everyone. Beyond Redline, Luke was over trying to figure out something on my truck that we were having a problem with. And thank you to all the people that are sitting out here in the rain and love off-road racing, because it's awesome.
Congratulations, Zach Shimmick, our world champion and winner here today. This is Pro Light. Back to you guys.
Under the lights here, and coming up next, Shane, it is Pro Mod action.
Amsoil Pro Mod side-by-sides are on the line, and we're going green right away. Green flag here for the Amsoil Pro Mod side-by-sides. That's Rod Van Eppert and CJ Greaves starting on the front row, and Greaves jumps out to the early race lead.
Yeah, CJ Greaves didn't waste any time. We're trying to keep things flowing here. And man, CJ, he's been in so many different classes. He's seen every bit of different track condition this afternoon.
Yeah, it looks like a lot more control with these cars being four-wheel drive than we saw just one race ago with the Pro Lights out there.
Looks like Ronnie Van Eppert in that 45 ride now creeping into the second place spot. Look at that. We have cones actually down into the finish line turn. That hole has just become so deep. Trying to avoid that has been very, very challenging. So track crew has done their job, and CJ Greaves is trying to stay out of that deep mud.
Greaves pretty well in control out front of this one, as he's made one full circuit around this short Crandon International Off-Road Raceway course. Battle for second is Van Eppert and your defending class champion, Cheney.
Here comes CJ Greaves back into the gravel pit. There's Cheney that Shane was talking about. He's been all over the country this year, just trying to get as much seat time as possible, running Pro 4 as well. You'll see him later on tonight, trying to win his first race in the Pro 4 class, and he's won multiple races in Pro Mod, Shane.
Yeah, like we said, defending class champion. Unfortunately, he's already been mathematically eliminated from winning the championship this year, with Greaves leading the points currently over Rodney Van Eppert. Good showing for the Yamahas out there in our Amsoil Pro Mod side-by-side 2020 season so far. Greaves has that preferred position, hasn't had to use a tear-off yet after starting on the front row. Being chased down by Van Eppert. And you got to think Greaves has an advantage too, just because he's seen the track. He was out here just a couple races ago there in Pro Stock side-by-side, so he came into this one knowing what to expect, where maybe Cheney and some of these other guys didn't quite know what they were getting into.
No, absolutely not. He's just all out, flat out on the lap pedal. He's trying to run away and hide. Here comes Cheney and Van Eppert. Van Eppert running a little bit of a different line than CJ Greaves, trying to reel him in.
Yeah, fortunately, there's still a lot of humidity in the air, but the rain has completely stopped. Or at least almost completely stopped. So this track will start to come back around to the good side and maybe wearing a little bit wider race line. Of course, these cars are four-wheel drive in contrast to those two-wheel drive Pro Lights that we just saw, so they can navigate this mud a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely. We talk about running underneath the lights. We were going back and forth, and the shadows, they're so hard to see out in one of these cars. I mean, yeah, it looks like it's really lit up like a football field, but you can just imagine being in one of those cars. It's not easy to negotiate these tough turns.
Yeah, and at times you're actually driving towards lights, so your eyes have to adjust quickly from looking at dark areas of the track to light areas of the track, and you still have to have great vision and be able to react quickly.
Yeah, CJ Greaves is definitely reacting very quickly, staying out front in that 33 Monster Energy ride, and we already got a car off the side of the track.
Yeah, I want to say that was the 8 of Elliott Burns.
Yeah, I think you're right. I seen him move down on our lineup sheet here, so we'll have to see. And Burns, yeah, he just keeps on going down the running order. So tough break for Elliott Burns as we go back on board with the 45 of Ronnie Van Eppert.
Yeah, Van Eppert, another veteran guy who's got a ton of seat time as the yellow flag is out, Brent. Looks like they're going to slow everybody down so they can safely get over there by the stalled car of Elliott Burns and clear the track out.
Yeah, that's one thing about running in the mud. We got to make sure our safety vehicles can get to these cars. So you see as Richie Kuloff is going to collect the field once again. There's Elliott Burns going into that finish line turn. There's the number 23 of Schwartz. And there's Burns just parked. So a lot of different scenarios you can think of what have gone wrong with that car, but maybe just overheated, maybe snapped something in the front end because he's parked.
Yeah, that was the 8 of Burns, so. Well, that gives everybody from Van Eperen on back another shot at trying to steal this lead away from CJ Greaves, but my goodness, in both of our Pro UTV classes, he's been a really tough guy to beat. But we have Haley Shanley down there trackside, standing knee-deep in mud. Haley, what do you have for us?
Yeah, it's a little greasy down here. We saw this track come together so beautifully throughout Sportsman Race, and especially towards the end. Then, as you may have noticed if you're here on site during the break before opening ceremonies, what they were doing to the track is scraping up all of that mud off the track, pushing it off. That's to create a wider racing surface. Throughout the season, you may see graders or sheep's footers out on track. That's to get the moisture deeper into the dirt. They didn't need to do that today. Mother Nature did that herself. So before the rain came, we saw this course really widen out. Now that the rain has let off, we're going to continue to see even more of that, especially here in this one. We still have many laps to go here in Pro Mod.
Yeah, thank you for that update, Haley. And I tell you, out of the three of us, she knows the dirt better than anybody else because she's been walking around in it all afternoon and evening.
Yeah, she definitely does. She's doing a good job just getting us all the stories down on trackside because, hey, man, we're up in the booth here this evening, and I can't think of a better place to be right now.
Yeah, it's a balmy 68 degrees. We're hanging out here with a roof over our heads.
Could get a little chilly up here, though. CJ Greaves still leading this one. Van Eperen in second. Cheney in third. Lawrence. You see Burns, he's out of this one. So Carlson will move up into the fifth spot. Tidd will go up to sixth. As we're going to try to get this one back underway.
Well, we should be going back to green flag racing this time here in the Amsoil Pro Mod side-by-side race here in round number 9.
Yeah, they're getting lined back up. Cheney's got a button up to the rear of Van Eperen. So it's Greaves, Van Eperen, Kyle Cheney, Scotty Lawrence now into fourth in that 26. We'll see if Greaves can hold on to that lead. Van Eperen needs to really just stay up on that rear bumper and try to get a good run, maybe even in the gravel pit like we talked earlier. Maybe something can happen. We'll have to see. Here we go.
Greaves leads the field once again through the barn turn, what we'd usually call turn number 2 on our full course layout. It is Greaves. Van Eperen still hanging right in there, though. Let's watch if anybody tries anything a little bit on the aggressive side here in the gravel pit. Honestly, it looks like Greaves may be trying the most aggressive strategy down in there.
Yeah, look at Van Eperen. He's not going anywhere. He's trying to stay a little bit off of CJ Greaves' line so he don't eat so much roost. As here comes Van Eperen. Van Eperen to the side of CJ. Can't make that pass. As we come back into that little left-hander. Coming back in front of the crowd. And look at CJ just backing it through the turn.
Like I talked about during Pro Stock, Brent, CJ has just such great car control. The conditions don't seem to really affect that at all in him. He's got so much seat time across a bunch of different disciplines of racing.
Yeah, he really does. He's seen just about everything to do with off-road racing. He's seen the mud. He's seen a perfect dry track. And we're going to see this one come right down to the end. Van Eperen, he's not going anywhere. He makes a little contact with CJ and wants to remind him, hey, man, I didn't go anywhere.
2 Yamahas battling for this race lead here in Pro Mod. Now Van Eperen with a little bit of a mistake there is going to yield about 4 car lengths to Greaves.
Here comes Kyle Cheney now. A little bit of a bobble for Van Eperen and costing him about 2 cars towards CJ Greaves. Here comes Cheney. Cheney trying to square that turn away, and he just run out of grip when you run right through that bottom.
Yeah, Cheney's starting to throw a few things now at Van Eperen. So Van Eperen definitely is going to start feeling some pressure here as our battle for second begins to heat up.
Such a cool shot by our drone following Kyle Chaney. Look at Chaney going so wide. Track really starting to dry out. He's going to come right across the bottom, trying to do a slide job. Can't get there. He'll have to stay in third.
Yeah, Chaney really went for it there. Maybe hoping that Van Eperen would push out just a little bit wider and open that door for the slide job move underneath. As we complete another lap here at Crandon International Off-Road Raceway.
CJ Greaves still out in front. Van Eperen second, Chaney third, Scotty Lawrence going by our camera in fourth. We'll see if Van Eperen can put anything together. He just needs to get to the back bumper and hope for maybe a little bit of a bobble on Greaves. And talking about CJ, you rarely see that kid make a mistake.
Top three starting to spread out just a little bit as they head down into the Polaris gravel pit. Chaney still really aggressively pitching that number 91 Can-Am machine into that corner.
Van Eperen really trying to stay right with CJ Greaves, rotate that car. Look at that hole you see right on the camera.
Yeah, Greaves made a little mistake there again. Like you said, we don't see those mistakes from CJ Greaves very often, but all these guys just doing their best to battle these track conditions.
Yeah,
Van Eperen's closing that gap, Brent.
Yeah, absolutely he is. He's just picking it away a little by little. As you see, less than a half a second separating 1 and 2. Chaney about 2 seconds back from them, so Kyle Chaney may be making a couple little minor mistakes, and it's costing him pretty big here in the second half. As watches CJ, he'll just back it in, let that car rotate, feathering that throttle, pushing the front end just a little bit.
Looks like Van Eperen may have another pretty good run off the gravel pit. Maybe a little bit more forward drive out of that number 45 Yamaha Van Eperen.
Well, Van Eperen's running out of time. We should be coming to the white flag this time by. Can Ronnie Van Eperen get the job done? Greaves still out in front. We'll see if Van Eperen can put anything together, but CJ's just been that fast.
Well, we saw Van Eperen get a pretty good run off the gravel pit last time. He's going to have to start his run right now and really find a little bit of extra speed to close that gap and maybe have a shot in the gravel pit.
Yeah, oh, look at that. CJ hit the berm a little bit. Van Eperen looked to get through there a little bit cleaner. Watch Van Eperen. He's going to try to go outside in, try and get a good run. We'll see if he can make it work. I don't know. He's right there, Shane.
Van Eperen with a ton of drive off the gravel pit turn. CJ's out in the loose stuff. They're going to go side by side over the jump.
Look at this. CJ's going to have the preferred line. He's going to have to go right through that hole. CJ ain't giving an inch. Here comes Van Eperen.
Van Eperen out the soft stuff. Poor contact. CJ Greaves is going to hold on narrowly for the win here in Pro Mod. Van Eperen second, Chaney third.
What a run by Ronnie Van Eperen. Kudos to him trying to make it work. But CJ Greaves got a little bit out of the throttle and made that bottom line stick and took the big win here in Pro Mod. Man, what great racing.
Yeah, that one saved a lot of drama for those final 2 corners, Brent. Like you said, Van Eperen just had a phenomenal drive off the gravel pit turn, and CJ pushed out a little bit, opened the door, and we saw some side-by-side white flag action going on there.
Yeah, that was some great racing right down to the end. So you tell that Ronnie Van Eperen, he has the power, he has the speed, the talent. He was right there, but kudos to CJ Greaves taking that number 1 spot.
Honestly, Brent, my eyes tell me that Van Eperen was a little bit faster, so maybe a little bit more on the mark for setup or tire choice.
Yeah, absolutely. You see some of our back runners going back towards the pits, and there's our Forest County Potawatomi Rush Run final results. Greaves, Van Eperen, Chaney, Lawrence, Wolf, and Carlson with a good 6th place run here in the mud, 9 seconds back. Then it's Fazone, Ties, Tid, and Wazak, your top 10, Shane.
Still just catching my breath a little bit from that last lap.
Yeah,
That's
definitely
what we wanted to see under the lights, though, is the top guys in each class bringing their A game, and that's exactly what we saw. That's your top 2 in points, battling it out for a win here in round number 9 under the lights.
Shane, I know you have everything written down point to point, and this is going to be some kind of showdown in Pro 2 in rounds 9 and 10.
Yeah, well, Keegan Kincaid has a 7-point lead on Kyle Kleiman, so Basically what it amounts to is Kleiman would have to finish a total of about 3 spots ahead over the 2 days. So a net of 3 spots better over the weekend than Kincaid. So he's got to get out front. They're starting side by side there in row number 3. So Kleiman, it is imperative to his points chances that he has to get out front of CJ Greaves.
Yeah, absolutely. He really does. As you look at Ryan Beat going through your screen, he's got to come from the back of the field. There's Richie Kuloff. Going to show these guys around for one parade lap. As you look at Corey Winter, Mickey Thomas in the field as well. So a lot of great race car drivers going to show you what Pro 2's all about here in the mud.
10 total drivers making the call for this one here in round number 9, Brent. So let's go down the starting lineup for Pro 2. Starting on the pole in the number 47 from Cave Creek, Arizona, it's Justin Schur. And alongside him, in the number 25, all the way from Odessa, Texas, it's the Stealth Oil Well Services truck of Cody Gill. Starting in third from Dawsonville, Georgia, the Mystic Lubricants, number 44 is Mickey Thomas. Starting fourth from Brea, California, number 67 is Corey Winter. Starting in row number 3, from Wilson, Michigan, driving the number 42 is Kyle Kleiman. And starting sixth, he's your current points leader from Argonne. It's the Vision Wheel 4, number 4 of Keegan Kincaid. Starting seventh from Adel, Wisconsin, as we see one truck already smoking, and that's Kleiman.
Yeah, it looks like Kyle Kleiman, maybe something
Gotta
wrong.
Keep an eye on that.
Yeah, he's definitely pouring a lot of smoke out the front side of that truck as we get a better look as he goes by the starting line, or our finish line here.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that as we're about to go green flag racing here. Also in the field, the number 84 is Zachary Kirchner. Number 43 is Bob Brand. Number 51 all the way from El Cajon, California is Rowdy Ryan Beat. And from Appleton, number 23 is Kevin Hanegraaff. And we are green flag racing, and already Gill got hung out to dry in the soft stuff.
And that's what we talked about, Shane. You get outside a little bit too wide. There goes Mickey Thomas already. He wants to take the lead early as they brush up against that berm. And look at Kyle Kleiman. This is where he needs to be.
Yeah, Kleiman with a pretty good start there. I think Gill pushed out a little bit wide and actually caught up the whole line of trucks behind him as he was on the outside or the right-hand side.
Yeah, absolutely. Kyle Kleiman going to go on the inside. He didn't want to make no contact, so good sportsmanship for Kyle Kleiman right there. He got out of the gas, didn't want to cause any damage to that truck.
Yeah, Kleiman having a good early run here, but trying to keep the truck in one piece. And meanwhile, just for some housekeeping here, Brent, there was a tangle at the back of the field that caught Keegan Kincaid up in it. He's back to full speed, but he's all the way back in 10th place.
Yeah, I'm just keeping an eye on Kyle Kleiman as we go back up to Mickey Thomas. I don't see the smoke coming out anymore on that right side. Yeah, a little couple puffs of smoke. There is Mickey Thomas at 44 Mystic Lube Ride, trying to just run away and hide these tough conditions. You can see the mud and the rain on our cameras. And look at Ryan Beat already. Beat trying to run down Kyle Kleiman early on. So Beat, he started way in the back. We talked about it. So good run for Ryan Beat.
Yeah, really all the trucks, like I said, that started on the left-hand side of our starting grid had a much better start because they were on the race line when the race took off. Yeah, Beat, you can see the hot brakes there as Beat under full braking. You see those brake rotors get really hot. They start to glow.
Yeah, and I was sitting there a couple of days ago just talking to Kyle Kleiman, and he was showing me the rotors and the calipers on those trucks. And it's amazing that those calipers, they actually wear through when the dirt gets in between the wheel and the caliper. It'll take the finish right off, and he's went through a couple sets already, and that'll just peel it, where then the fluid's just leaking and you run out of brakes.
You know, Kleiman, for showing that smoke, definitely running full speed here, so whatever that issue is, he's managing it really well.
See the sparks coming out like Shane said a couple laps ago. That is such an aggressive brake pad on that Lucas Oil Bilstein shock ride of Ryan Beat as he's falling back a little bit from Kyle Kleiman. No harm, no foul. You see that excess fuel coming out of the bottom of those trucks. There's no fire. That's just all that excess burning off as quick as possible for Kyle Kleiman.
Yeah, Mickey Thomas running out front. He started on the second row and only had to follow the 47 of Sure for a couple of corners before he was free and clear. So Thomas not struggling with visibility like any of our other drivers will be. We take a look at that number 44 Mystic Lubricants truck all the way from Dawsonville, Georgia.
Such a long tow to make the ride home that much shorter. He can pull a win out of his back pocket. He already won once this season, so he definitely knows what it feels like to win in this new class here in Pro 2. For him, as he's doing a stellar job just running that fast line, as you see a glimpse of Kleiman now.
Yeah, Thomas so far doing a really nice job managing the throttle and not making any mistakes that are costing him too much time. But again, Kleiman, he's a Michigan guy, so he's familiar with these elements a little bit, racing around the Midwest and Barton River here at Crandon. Being able to understand the dirt like that is so valuable, and having the experience of driving on such a slick track, as we see, that's just about 2 race lines wide there in turn 2, Brent.
Yeah, absolutely. It's starting to widen out. They're just getting the track ready and groomed for the Pro 4 race yet to come. With these Pro 2s, I thought they'd have more of a challenge, with this truck setup and how they get through these turns, but it looks like the speeds are starting to pick up.
Yeah, and really a testament to these DOT tires that these trucks are running too, because it doesn't look like there's any shortage of traction for these Pro 2s.
Yeah, no shortage of traction. Here comes Ryan Beat. He's going to try to take another run at Kyle Kleiman. We are 4 laps into this one.
Yeah, you saw Beat still trying that inside line through that deep, deep hole as Keegan Kincaid going past the finish line. He's now up into 4th place.
Kyle Kleiman bonsaiing off the barn jump here in Crandon. Ryan Beat still trying to creep in on Kleiman. There's Kleiman in that 42 Crandon tire back ride. Those Crandon tires are definitely doing their job.
Actually, 3 different tire companies represented in our top 3 drivers. So like I said, these DOT tires that you can just go buy off the shelf from your local tire dealer. Really putting on a display, battling this Crandon very wet dirt as we battled Mother Nature all afternoon into the evening.
Yeah, you watch Kyle Kleiman, he kind of went right through that hole, so he's got to be careful. You don't want to shear off a left front or a right front or take a tire down here in these conditions. But here comes Mickey Thomas once again coming in front of the crowd, going over that first roller off the barn jump once again, and that truck looks to be in great shape.
Yeah, and he's already lost a bed side, so that must have accumulated a little bit too much dirt, but we were talking off mic, Brent, and it's almost advantageous to lose those bed sides because that's one less place that this extra weight can cling on to.
Yeah, we were definitely talking, if you're a crew member, put a couple Zeus's in there and let that thing fall off. You don't carry so much weight in the rear. I don't think you can do that. Now they're probably going to be checking for it as you look at the rain really starting to come down once again here in Crandon, Wisconsin. It's going to make it like an ice rink.
Yeah, go figure, right on time as the track is starting to wear back into a really nice race line. It's going to get soaked on top once again. See how well Thomas and all the rest of these fellas can manage this wetness that's going to be reapplied into this track surface.
Yeah, and you can tell Kyle Kleiman, he might just be sitting, chilling out. He knows Mickey Thomas is ahead. He's holding on to that gap. He's about three seconds behind our race leader. He's got about a second on Beat right now, so maybe he's just waiting for that mandatory competition caution because he's in the points race. I don't know. Keegan Kincaid looks to be in 4th. It might not be enough for today for Kleiman. If he can get up to the front, maybe get that 25 points that he really wants to earn.
Yeah, as it stands right now, he'd pick up 4 points on Kincaid, which would leave only a 3-point gap coming into tomorrow. We'll keep an eye on that, like I said. We'll do our best to do the math for you so you don't have to.
Yeah, definitely challenging here in Pro 2 in round number 9. Remember, we still have one more round to go in this points championship. There is Mickey Thomas. Kyle Kleiman still in 2nd.
Yeah, Kleiman doing a really nice job holding off Beat. Ryan Beat showing a lot of speed, which generally a guy coming from California like that, you don't expect him to be that well versed in driving in these slick conditions. But look at this, he's trying to put the inside move on Kleiman. They're going to go side by side.
Yeah, oh, looks like they made contact. Both of them going around. Kyle Kleiman's going way off into the slime. He got kind of forced out of the way, so we'll have to see. He gets back on track.
Yeah,
he couldn't
finally
really do
back
nothing
on
about
track.
it. He couldn't really do nothing about it, though. He got a little contact, and he couldn't make that jump as that mandatory competition caution comes out.
So even for all that mayhem, no shuffle to the race order there. It's still Mickey Thomas out front. Then Kyle Kleiman, Ryan Beat, Keegan Kincaid, and I believe that is Kirchner running up there in the top 5. Doesn't look like it's raining too hard out there, Brent, but definitely enough to wreak some havoc for these drivers.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to take another look at this one. Kyle Kleiman, he just got a little bit too much over that cushion. It kind of sucked him up. Then he had a good run on the outside and kind of made contact with Ryan Beat. Beat tried to save it as well, and people are probably wondering, why didn't he go over that jump? He couldn't turn the truck back.
Yeah, well, it got to a point where he kind of either had to zig or zag. You had to make a decision. Do I push through this mud up this hill or go off the track? So a little bit of mayhem there. Didn't change the race order at all, but we've got Haley Shanley trying to dodge the raindrops down there trackside. Haley, what do you have for us?
Seeking shelter here at the podium with this rain coming down. One of the keys to success this season, talking to a number of full-size truck drivers amongst the Pro 2s and Pro 4s, be it rain or shine, the key many times has come down to tire strategy. So here just 3 of the core options that they have to work with. First, is it going to be a mud tire or an all-terrain tire? For the most part, they're going to be running a mud tire, but we've seen already tonight in the other classes running an all-terrain tire. Then it's not a one-size-fits-all with either that mud or all-terrain. It's also going to come down to grooving strategy. There's no one-size-fits-all with the grooving strategy either. You've seen today they're mixing things up based on the track conditions on this track and just the overall conditions. That's going to come into play there with that strategy. And last but certainly not least is that tire pressure we've talked about. They're going to lower that pressure. What that does is widen the footprint of that tire as opposed to when you fill it up with air, increase that tire pressure, that heightens the tire, minimizing that footprint. So lowering that tire pressure is going to be key in this one with these track conditions.
Excellent information there, Haley. As we go back to Green Flag Racing, and she's absolutely correct. There's a lot of different ways you can go with your tires, and sometimes that can be all the difference. A lot of that, again, comes down to experience. How long have you and your crew guys been doing this? You know, how thick is your book of notes? Who can you call on for advice? That kind of thing really comes into play here as Kincaid looks to the inside of Beat, but nothing doing there. Beat's still right on Kleiman's back bumper. Kincaid knows that he has to stay in Kleiman's area code to stay in this points chase. As they come back to the finish line, no change in our top 4. It's still Thomas, Kleiman, Beat, and Kincaid.
Yeah, we'll see if Kincaid can get around Ryan Beat. Remember, that points chase, like he said, is definitely heating up. But Mickey Thomas, look at how fast Thomas is. Just pulling away from Kleiman.
Yeah, you can tell Thomas definitely made the right choice on his tires for this one. Haven't seen many mistakes out of him.
No, look at Thomas. It always happens when we say a little something about our leader. He got a little wide going before the gravel pit, now into player's turn. We'll see if Kleiman can start picking away at the lead. Kleiman, I talk about being calm, cool, and collected. That kid has won a couple different championships. He's won multiple Pro Light races, won some Pro 2 races. And man, keep your eyes on that Crandon Tire back ride. He's going to keep moving forward.
Mickey Thomas and that Mystic Lubricants number 44 still in control. Like I said a little while ago, Brent, just haven't seen any mistakes or any costly mistakes out of Thomas. Just a really smooth, good, solid run.
Yeah, absolutely. He's doing a fine job as Thomas going to work through the barn turn and Kleiman hitting that cushion. Just upsetting that truck. Looks like they're going through a rhythm section coming off of that. The truck just upsets back and forth. Here comes Kleiman again.
Yeah, I'm thinking they've maybe dug up a little hole that's right on the race line there. We've seen a lot of trucks hitting that very same spot.
Oh, look at the sparks coming out the front right of Mickey Thomas. Remember, those are aggressive brake pads on that machine. The white flag's out. This is it. Thomas still with the lead. A good points day for Kleiman. But there's Keegan Kincaid, so he's definitely doing what he needs to do as well as we're coming in front of the crowd once again, Shane.
Yeah, like I said, 2 spots would equal a 4-point gain by Kleiman, trying to close that gap on Kincaid. Plus, Kleiman was second at the halfway point, which picks up an extra bonus point. So unofficially, Keegan Kincaid's points lead coming into round number 10 tomorrow would be 2 points, which basically means that tomorrow it's whichever driver finishes in front of the other one.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what needs to happen. Look at the rain still coming down, but 1 turn to go for Mickey Thomas. Thomas at Mystic Lubes, number 44, gonna do it here in Crandon. He's gonna take the win in round 9. Second is gonna go to Kyle Kleiman in the 42 Kendon Tire back ride.
Yeah, and at the last minute there, Kincaid was inside of Ryan Beat, but Beat narrowly held on for third. Like we were saying, that's going to really tighten up this Pro 2 points chase. And if my quick math is correct, the points chase tomorrow is going to come down to whichever of those 2 drivers finishes in front of the other one.
Yeah, absolutely. They will have to be here for round number 10. Those 2 are really going to duke it out as you look at the Forest County Potawatomi Brush Run. Last race of the evening. We are under the lights. And this is going to be some kind of showdown, especially as he moves up on the front row. Angie Carlson, he's been having one stellar of a year as well as Johnny Greaves gets back behind the wheel.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the 2 guys there on row number 2, Brent. CJ Greaves and Kyle Duke. This is the rivalry that we all wanted to see develop when we found out that Kyle Duke was coming to race with us here in the Midwest. My goodness, has it delivered.
Yeah, he definitely does, and we'll have to see. I mean, this points championship is going to come down to the end, and we were talking scenarios, and I mean, Kyle Duke would have to win. CJ would have to finish 5th or worse in this one to wrap up that championship. And I don't think CJ's going to wait around. He's going to be ready.
Yeah, you know everybody under that green's on him. They've done all their homework. They're prepared for this one. There will be no letdown like that for CJ.
Absolutely not. You see Kyle Duke now, he's towards the back. He was originally starting in the first spot, so maybe he was working on his truck. Maybe they put him to the back because of that, so we'll have to wait and see.
8 drivers making the call here for round number 9 of Pro 4. Under the lights here at Crandon International. Starting on the pole, the number 15 from Elk River, Minnesota is Andrew Carlson. Alongside him from Swamico, Wisconsin, the Monster Energy Toyota is Johnny Greaves. Starting third, the number 33 from Swamico, the other Monster Energy Toyota is CJ Greaves. Then alongside him, the number 11 is Adrian Cheney from San Diego, California. Kyle Cheney's out there in the number 91. He's from Millersport, Ohio. Jimmy Henderson is in the number 44. Scotty Lawrence is in the 26. And Kyle Duke's in the 99. We are green flag racing.
You see Andrew Carlson and Johnny Greaves, they're kind of playing tag before the start. Andrew got that whole shot, moving Johnny Greaves into that slimy dirt. We'll have to see. Remember, all 4 wheels are down. 18 inches of travel in the front, 20 inches in the rear seat, so the suspension's there.
Carlson in control of this one early on. He's got both of those green cars right behind him. The rain starting to pick up just a little bit, so we'll keep an eye on that as well.
Midwest boys are out front. That's Andrew Carlson, Johnny Greaves. Oh, Greaves!
Oh, look at that.
Carlson.
A little bit more drama between those 2. We saw it start a little bit before the green flag. Now spilling over to the race.
Oh, look at Carlson. He pushes wide
Again, bounces off Carlson.
He gave a little update and said, hey, I remember what you did to start this race. He moves him onto the race line as Cheney. Cheney getting a little wide. And look at this. Looks like maybe Johnny Greaves is looking at that right rear. We'll have to take a peek at it. Wilson still getting contact. It's a 5 class. Rubbing up against it. I think maybe had a right rear going down, Shane.
Yeah, looks to be good. Let's keep an eye on the ball. As Carlson trying to close that gap back up on Johnny Greaves. That's your battle for the race. The Roman Polaris Fly Legion.
Greaves is out backing their truck in. So you definitely want to get that front end to come around. And you really have to use a lot of control.
Again, more contact. Once again, Greaves and Carlson. And Greaves pushes Carlson over the soft stuff again.
Boy, Shane, that just goes to show you where we got inside, eh?
Carlson looked to the inside. Could have made more contact happen there, but let up for a second. Now there's the contact. Greaves has to gather it back up.
A lot of contact going on, like you're saying, Shane. And whoever has the inside line, you get that fresh opportunity to push him onto that race line. As here comes Carlson again. He Greaves all over the back door.
Johnny Greaves and Andrew Carlson just trading body blows right now.
A little bit of dust as we enter in that finish line turn. As the track's starting to come together as the rain still trickles down.
Yeah, that tells
out front.
That tells you how much dirt these guys are really throwing off the track. So you see they're still pushing the air almost like fog. And now CJ is inside Carlson.
Boy, look at here comes the airplane trying to make it too wide through the barn turn. He's leaning on CJ Greaves a little bit.
Yeah, Carlson's not going away. They're all making contact with one another. They head down to the gravel pit.
Boy, things are definitely going to start getting interesting. Here's our points leaders. CJ Greaves killing out there side by side.
Up and over the clearance racing jump. Everybody's settling in for a moment. Truck's got to catch my breath. But he's for a short moment here as the Duke almost made some contact with the right rear of CJ Greaves.
Yeah, you see Kyle, he's trying to drive in a little bit deeper than CJ Greaves. They're all doing a wonderful job, but you're trying to get that little bit of an edge, Shane.
Yeah, we see those guys make some contact with one another earlier on this season as well.
Yeah, both sponsored by Monster Energy, all three of them to be exact. I mean, they still have the same boss back at headquarters, so they got to play it safe. They want to win, they're paying to win. So watch, this is really going to get hot and heavy here in the second half.
Kyle Duke turning up the heat now on CJ Greaves. Moment makes a little bit of contact. He's trying to upset that truck of CJ Greaves and push him out into the mud.
Yeah, you watch Johnny how he pushed out Andrew Carlson. That's just what they're dealing with. That's the cards they have on the table. They have to use what they have, and there is that mandatory competition caution should be coming out. One lap 5-5.
Yeah, it should be one lap to go for the caution, but I'm seeing a little bit of steam on that gentleman on CJ Greaves, so keep an eye on that as well.
Yeah, CJ Greaves doing what he needs to do to stay in second. Greaves still out in front. Yeah, you called that right. Look at the contact there.
Carlson getting all the Henderson this time. Carlson taking that first right now.
So the tire setup this weekend is definitely a huge factor. You have to go with that mud terrain. Normally at Crandon, you go with that all-terrain because it's usually dry right now. Get the best grip possible. Here comes CJ, man. At that mandatory competition caution, it's going to be Johnny Greaves, CJ Greaves, Kyle Newt, Jimmy Henderson, and Andrew Carlson.
A lot of physical driving there in the first half of that one. Brandon, you can see those trucks look a little bit worse for the wear there. Not just battling mud, but battling a ton of contact in that first half.
Well, Haley Shanley, what do you have for us now trackside?
Yeah, I got some scoop on the truck that Johnny Greaves is running. Of course, he had that ugly spill in the last round that we are so fortunate to see him have walked away from and then to be out and be competitive again here this weekend. Now, they did end up running a whole different truck this time, but it's not a new one. This is actually the truck that he and CJ have both used to test tires, among other things, so he's quite comfortable in that seat. More on the history of that truck. CJ's raced it a time or two, but with Johnny, there are so many wins and even championships to this truck. Now, if we rewind almost a decade to one of the most heated, notorious battles here in short course history in the Midwest, this truck has seen numerous fantastic battles between Johnny Greaves and Ricky Johnson. So this truck is not only performance proven, but it's seen many battles. It's amazing the longevity of this truck.
much, Haley, for that great information. And yeah, you can't say enough about the Greaves team, the Greaves family, the never say die attitude. And we're going to see everything shake out here. Remember your points leaders, CJ Greaves, Kyle Leduc in second and third. The green flag flies. Here's the second half.
It's going to be a brawl right up to the finish. There's a little bit of contact between Leduc and CJ Greaves.
Yeah, CJ Greaves trying to play the protected line. Watch him, he's going to try to go to the inside of his father. Here comes Kyle Leduc to the inside. No contact, but trying to make that other line stick.
Now there were 3 lines to grab him just for a moment. They've all settled back in. It's still Johnny, CJ, and Kyle Leduc running 1, 2, and 3 into Calamity Corner.
Such a cool shot of the top 3 all in unison going into that finish line turn.
Brent, I'm not sure if I've seen Steve before off CJ's truck, maybe a little bit of tire smoke from that right rear tire.
Absolutely. These top 3 are just batting fast under the lines here in Crandon. That's more excess fuel coming out of Johnny Greaves. Here's Kyle Leduc. He's got that inside line.
And he's pushing the issue there, and CJ leaning on one another side by side. CJ out in the soft stuff, and Kyle Leduc is going to take over second place down in the gravel pit.
Kyle Leduc makes that pass stick. Just gave him a little move out of the way, and it made it work. So, can Kyle Leduc hunt down Johnny Greaves in that fast Toyota?
Another mistake there from Johnny Greaves. Actually, Leduc got caught up in a little bit of it as well.
This one is not over yet. Some of the best in the world here battling in Crandon, Wisconsin. This is round 9 of Champ Off Road, and things are starting to heat up for our race lead. Johnny Greaves, Kyle Leduc, there goes Leduc to the inside.
Not quite close enough to make him up there. You'll see who really pushes it hard here in the gravel pit. Now we're talking about entering the corner. Not going to happen here for Kyle Leduc.
Oh, look at Kyle Leduc. He both got Johnny Greaves out of the way. And just like that, they both make contact.
Leduc makes contact with both Greaves truck. Now he's going to dive back to the inside of CJ.
Yes.
CJ might be off the pace.
That is some fiberglass smoke coming off the rear of Kyle Leduc. We'll see that hood's starting to come up, so that could play a major factor as Greaves trying to rotate that truck as well through this tough layout here in Crandon this weekend.
So after all that shuffling, we're back to where we were. It's Greaves, Leduc, Greaves, your top 3.
We'll see right here, watch as he go on the gravel pit. That hood's starting to flap up on Leduc. Watch as he gets a couple liners and sends it back down. Hopefully it's the back of the hood, because if it was the front of the hood, that thing would have been tore off right in the face of Leduc. Coming back in what will be the finish line. The laps are starting to wind down. Leduc is not going anywhere.
Yeah, this time Johnny Greaves really playing defense down there in Calamity Corner. It'll be 5 laps to go here in our Pro 4 race.
Boy, give credit to Johnny Greaves after that nasty crash. He has got that truck dialed in. Like I said, Brad and Devin and the guys on that Greaves crew doing what they need to do to keep that truck out front. But I guarantee you, Brad and Kyle, they have something to show for it here late in the race.
Yeah, talking about Johnny Greaves, like Caleb was telling us, how many other teams can have a backup truck and be running up front against the Pro 4 points that what Johnny Greaves is right now?
Yeah, absolutely. It's so awesome to see these trucks just flat out battle. As you watch, Leduc came off of that jump. He threw a lot of sparks, so definitely something's riding on that machine. As he's butt right to the rear bumper again, it's going to be the pack, working his way through this finish line turn, backing it in perfect, coming out of the pit exit. There it is, Shane. The white flag is out for Kyle Duke here in round 9. He could clinch the points championship here.
Unbelievable turn of events throughout this whole race. And now it's left the Duke all alone out front. And it's Carlson and Henderson now up into the top 3.
Boy, fiberglass, Shane, it is optional here in round number 9. Everyone made contact, it seems like. Look at CJ Graves, he's now up to 6, so keeping his championship hope still alive here on the last lap. As Kyle Duke's going to come off that Polaris, fly away just one final time. He's going to back it in, carried in speed. One more time, there's the checkered flag for Kyle Duke in that Monster Energy 99 back WD-40 ride.
Carlson barely held on for a second. He got a good battle going on at the end there with Jimmy Henderson. Good run for both of those guys. And my goodness, man, that wall-to-wall drama there. Unbelievable. What do you think, Brandon? How was that Pro 4 race?
Unbelievable. That's what we waited to see. We had a lot of rain showers go on throughout the evening. But what a Pro 4 race. Kudos to Johnny and CJ Greaves, Andrew Carlson. Those body panels are just smashed off the side of those machines, and that's what we want to see. The blood was definitely in the water on that one.
And just think, that's how they race out there when they still have to come back and do it again tomorrow. Tell you what, tomorrow the gloves are coming off, and I think we're going to see a lot of this action that we saw in those 16 laps spill over into tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. You see our Forest County Potawatomi Brush Run Pro 4 results. Leduc, Carlson, Henderson, Jenny, Greaves will finish in the top 5. That is John Greaves and CJ Greaves in 6, Scotty Lawrence in 7, and rounding out our 8-truck field, Kyle Cheney.
They tend to do that to us here in Pro 4. I think we've said that a few times this season. This was the best race of the year. No, they continue to up the bar. So hats off to these guys. We'll start with Jimmy Henderson in 3rd. Jimmy, you said heading into this one, opening ceremonies, that you were ready for battle here. Was this what you had in mind?
Yeah, it was a battle. I knew starting in the back, you know, it was going to be tough to get up here on the box, and not just starting in the back in the mud race, but the unbelievable competitors that I race against. And we were able to do it. I mean, them Kenda tires were gripping, and the track was actually perfect for them. I could feel coming off the corner, I was gaining bite, and people in front of me were still spinning. So I was super happy with my Kenda tires. Got to thank United Rentals for helping me this year. You know, we're right here at the end, and we hope to bring them back next year. So United Rentals, let's get signed up, baby.
Congratulations, Jimmy Henderson, our 3rd place finisher here in Pro 4. And Andrew Carlson from Elk River, Minnesota. Andrew, there was so much intensity throughout that race, but let's start with the start there. There was a little bit of contact. Just break down the intensity for me at the start.
Yeah, you know, just listening to Corey and my spotters and everybody else. Every race before us, the guy who started on the pole ended up getting the win, so I knew, you know, I felt really good starting up front, but it was a whole nother beast. I mean, when you're out there in the Pro Mod, we could at least keep them in the line. These trucks were so hard to handle out there, but, you know, you just got to be there at the end, and it came down to limiting mistakes. But, yeah, you know, I made a couple big ones early on, and Johnny and I were going back and forth, and it was getting pretty physical and just hard to keep it straight off the jumps and everything. So just kind of had to take a deep breath and watch the carnage in front of me unfold, and just had to be there at the end. So this track was so slippery. I got a big shout out to Yokohama. We had a really good groove going today, and I felt like we had a good launch off the first start and everything. We had a really good tire program, super happy with it, you know, and the truck was handling. It took a little bit to get used to just where we could get bite, but you know, when you see some of these guys out here, top drivers in the world, and they're pushing into corners and slamming into cushions, you know it's tough conditions, but yeah, just pumped to be up here and you know, do it under the lights for all you fans at Crandon. It's pretty cool. So big shout out to everybody at the team, Race, Dan, all the guys, Drew, Ryan, Marlo, Sean, everybody that's helping out. Big shout out to them. Putting a lot of work in to get these trucks out here. It's a lot of work behind the scenes, so big shout out to them.
A lot of work pays off, and I think the way he was able to capitalize really outweighed any mistakes out there. Congratulations, Andrew Carlson and his little guy Dallas joining him here on the podium. And man of the hour, Kyle LeDuc, your winner here in round 9. Kyle, you know, this one didn't come easy for you. You had some work to do at the start there, so break down those early stages for me and then the dominance of the show you put on for the rest of that race.
Well, my spotter and I were talking before the race, Trad, and the Pro 2s got sucked out in this mud, so I opted for a rear start to just try to stay out of the chaos. And there wasn't too much. Hats off to the whole class. It went clean. If you guys could imagine to just do a track walk right now, the 3-foot banks on the outside of these corners are insane. And we got to drift and not miss them, and it was carnage. So I opted to go in the back, and everybody ran me clean up to the front till I got to the Greaves. And we ran good with CJ and had some good passes, but everybody's going about 50%, you know, just to be safe and try to stay on track. And, you know, Johnny smoked me a couple times, and that's never fun. I wish we could put that behind us and go racing and put a show on for you fans. Clean racing, fast racing, pushing the limits. And, you know, I passed everybody clean. I didn't put anybody in the bank, anybody upside down, so felt good to come from the back for my team, my family. Todd won today, so hats off to my bro Todd for winning. It's pretty cool. But my mom's at home, all of our friends and family at home. Thank you for watching, and fans, everybody. But Monster, everybody that supports us, that's on my jersey, on my truck, on our Instagram. Support them, support us, because without you fans and these sponsors, we can't do this.
And this is why this guy came to the Midwest for epic racing that we saw here today. Congratulations, Kyle LeDuc. Let's give it up for your top 3 here in Pro 4.